Everything appeared normal until Rasheeda opened her words in a trailer that already had viewers holding pearls and hitting rewind as if their lives depended upon it. One moment struck harder than the others. Rasheeda, long regarded as the calm one, the woman who kept it together amid Perk's insanity and numerous cast meltdowns, abruptly flipped the script. Not on just anyone. Yes, the one who has been her friend, confidant, and quiet supporter in a world full of phony hugs and loud shade. But this season, all bets are off. The Love and Hip Hop Atlanta Season 13 trailer has just been released. And baby, it's messy. So messy, in fact, that the internet has already been ripped apart. Rasheeda is at the center of the storm, making aggressive charges and drawing attention to Yandy's marriage. Fans are startled. The treachery is audible, and the stillness comes from an even louder Dot. But before we go any further, let's be clear. What you're about to hear is feedback on the trailer and the conversations it inspired. If you're not sure what to believe, we understand. Do not take our word for it. Go view the trailer yourself. It is all there. The looks, the tension, Rasheeda's turn. Here's where it all starts. Nobody anticipated it to happen this way. Not after all the cookouts, sisterhood speeches, and years of holding each other down, both on and off camera. But everything changed when Rasheeda sat across from Yandy and dropped the first frigid sentence. You could feel the shift on the screen. There wasn't one raised voice. There were no flung glasses or screaming matches, only silent betrayal with a serene face. Rasheeda did not just face Yandy, which made it all the more painful. She revealed her. She brought up issues that no one, even the producers, expected coming. Things concerning which no one has previously spoken out. It wasn't only shaded. It was a premeditated act that left supporters in complete shock. The teaser did not provide us a complete narrative, but the enthusiasm was enough to shake up the fans. Rasheeda looked at Yandy and muttered something like, "Sometimes people pretend they have the perfect life, but the truth always slips out." Jaws fell since this was the unspoken norm in their culture. Choose family over conflict. Rasheeda didn't just go for the family. She walked right into Yandy's wedding and threw a grenade. Fans reacted immediately. The internet erupted with individuals taking sides. Some praised Rasheeda for finally speaking up. Others described her as false, untidy, and hypocritical. One remark that received hundreds of likes stated, "The woman who forgave Kirk for cheating with half the zip code has no business talking about someone else's husband." And that was the loudest echo. People Kirk's indiscretions, public disgrace, baby trouble, and tearful confessionals were all played back. They pulled receipts as if it were finals week. Rasheeda was immediately targeted for more than just what she stated. She was under fire for everything she did not tell about her own life. Yandy, why did single quotes become their own form of communication in that moment? She did not clap, cry, or even flinch. She just blinked slowly and added, "I don't lie." It was short, simple, and powerful. Fans analyzed the scene frame by frame. Some thought she was attempting to maintain her composure. Others stated she was heartbroken and didn't see it coming, which made the whole affair even more painful. Because treachery of strangers are one thing, but betrayal by someone you trusted leaves a scar. And then there were men. He did not speak in the trailer, but his presence was audible. Rasheeda's rumors involved him directly, and while nothing specific was confirmed, the damage had already been done. Whispers began flying. Did he cheat? Was there anything hidden? Did Rasheeda know anything years ago that Yandy didn't? The show did not respond to any of it. The quiet simply fueled the fire. As the trailer went on, the ripple effect of that moment began to expand. Jessica White, who had just begun to settle into her so-called Zen arc, found herself embroiled in the crossfire. She attempted to be the voice of reason, speaking softly about understanding and peace, but the room wouldn't listen. Spice rolled her eyes and whispered something under her breath, and Rasheeda smiled. "Not now, sis." The situation was uncomfortable, awkward, and very telling. This was not a cast that supported each other. This was a room filled with individuals choosing their wars and sides. Is behind the scenes. Word spread quickly. Other cast members started to weigh in. Some claimed Rasheeda was fed up with protecting individuals who would not protect her. others asserted. She had been hanging on to this information for a long time before eventually snapping. Some even hinted that there was more to come, and that the trailer only scraped the surface. Everyone understood that the catastrophe had only just begun. Rasheeda acted as if nothing big had happened, which made things much messier. The next scene shows her laughing, sipping a drink, and speaking with someone off camera, as if she hadn't just started a fire in the center of the cast. Opposite end of the table, the silence surrounding her is audible. She glances down at her plate, barely touching her meal, her face furrowed in frustration. But even and despite the silence, Rasheeda's surroundings became increasingly noisy. Fans began delving deeper into her background, unearthing old interviews, tweets, and occasions in which she defended Kirk through it all. The paradox was too loud to be ignored. Here was a woman who stood by a man who cheated on her, embarrassed her, and fathered a kid outside of their marriage, now acting as a judge and jury in Yandy's relationship with Mindy. The hypocrisy was not merely discovered, it was criticized, examined, and publicized on social media. Comments flooded in by the thousand. Rasheeda has some nerve, acting brand fresh. One admirer wrote, "You forgave Kirk, for I'm running a daycare on the side, but Yandy is the problem." Rasheeda's attitude made matters worse. She did not flinch during her confessionals. She kept it cool. She did not apologize or explain. She simply let the controversy swirl around her while saying vague things about living her truth and being done protecting people. Fans were not buying it. They claimed she was deflecting, attempting to shift the story before the season premiered. One video even showed her grinning after the altercation with Yandy, stating that it had to be spoken. But did it? Yandy, for her part, tried to keep it elegant, but even she cracked under the pressure. In one poignant scene, she sits with a producer off camera and says, "I've been nothing but consistent. I held it down for her, but now I'm the one being pulled." Her voice breaks. For a brief period, you can glimpse the suffering underneath the polished exterior. She's not only dealing with rumors, she is grappling with the breakdown of a friendship she thought was safe, and a clapback or a camera cut won't make that heartbreak go away. The rest of the cast felt the ripple. Rini Rukshi, who had previously been silent, eventually spoke up in front of a gathering. She stared straight at Rasheeda and remarked, "You really aired it out like." Rasheeda lifted her brows, shrugged, and replied, "Wasn't nothing. I said that wasn't true." The tension was instant. Even those who weren't directly involved leaned back in their chairs, sipped their beverages slowly, and their gazes darted. Len didn't press it any further, but the meaning was clear. It wasn't just about Rasheeda and Yandy anymore. It was about who could be trusted, and interest was in short supply. Fan pages compared Rasheeda's previous words to her current actions, while bloggers speculated about the truth. According to one idea that gained momentum, Rasheeda had been harboring animosity about how rapidly Yandy became a fan favorite in Atlanta, how her brand grew, and the partnership was praised, but Rasheeda's was continually questioned. Whether it was real or not, the narrative took fire, and soon it was everywhere. Mendeecees, still mute, eventually made an appearance. In the trailer, he appears beside Yandy at a charity event. The mood is tense, and he doesn't say much, simply stands with his hand on her back while she gives a speech, but his body language speaks everything. He's supporting her, but there's strain in his jaw and a stiffness in his stance. Some fans claimed that he was furious about being drawn into the drama, while others assumed he was silently ready to defend his wife when the time came. In any case, his presence reminded everyone that this wasn't just reality TV. There were real relationships on the line. While all of this was going on, another subplot began to grow, one that could turn everything upside down. Jasmine, the lady at the core of Kirk's Rasheeda, had a lot more to be concerned about than Yandy's marriage if Jasmine, who was involved in a notorious scandal, was indeed returning. Fans immediately paused, screenshotted, and began speculating after the trailer showed her walking into a scene. One of the most talked about scenes occurred during a dispute between Yandy and Spice, and if Jasmine has anything to say about it, Season 13 may be more uglier than anticipated. Spice accused Yandy of playing the victim and attempting to spin the story in a heated conversation. The two women had never been great friends, but they had kept their relationship polite up until now. "I don't have to play anything. I am the one who has been played," The debate quickly escalated, hands waving, voices rising, producers jumping in to separate them. It was raw, brutal, and very emotional, and fans once again chose sides. Some argued that Spice was being overly forceful, while others claimed Yandy was using pity to hide the facts. Carly Red discreetly stirred the pot in the background. She didn't take sides, but she sprinkled statements like breadcrumbs. In one confessional, she stated, "People always want to act perfect until someone pulls up the reel." Carly thrives on drama, and this season provided her with all the elements she needed to stay relevant. Fans saw her smirks, her deliberately planned escapes from the room, and her wide-eyed reactions, which felt a little to state, getting drawn into something they didn't start. Yet quiet was no protection. Even sitting too near to the incorrect person started rumors, as fans on social media became investigators, examining every detail, analyzing every group picture, every seating arrangement, every Instagram story. Jessica White's emotional disintegration was caught between her desire to be above "I don't even know why I'm here anymore," she confessed to a buddy on camera, her voice cracking. Her eyes were heavy with frustration, but her companion did not comfort her. Instead, she remarked, "Then maybe stop trying to fix everyone's fight, and just tell your tale." It stung deeply because Jessica wasn't simply interested in other people's. Fans began to notice that she was playing the role of peacekeeper out of fear rather than love, and that she was exploiting it to divert attention away from her personal problems. A wild word began to circulate among the actors that Yandy was considering abandoning the production. She couldn't escape the story, which had caught fire somewhere in the middle of the main drama and side stories. It was not confirmed, but one scene showed her saying, "Maybe this isn't the place for me anymore." Fans who had followed Yandy from the beginning were scared because the comment was quiet and matter-of-fact, rather than theatrical. Everyone was wondering if Rasheeda's betrayal was the reason Yandy moved away. Rasheeda, of course, didn't lie. When she said she was leaving, she really meant it. She dismissed her next confession. "People typically run when they are caught," she remarked, spinning a jewelry on her wrist. "But me, I stand by what I say, and perhaps it would have come across better if it hadn't been so practiced." Fans blasted her for seeming too prepared and distant, and the comments were cruel. "This isn't growth. It's ego galore, from being the voice of reason to the loudest hypocrite." The blowback was tremendous, and it wasn't just online. Rasheeda discovered Spice, however, kept the heat burning by pointing out the phony behavior. She witnessed on "People love to act perfect for the show, but the streets know," she stated during a rooftop meet. She didn't have to identify anyone. Everyone knew who she was referring to. And in a terrible twist of destiny, even she began receiving heat for doing too much. Fans felt that she was inserting herself into conflict that wasn't hers. One person noted, "Spice don't know when to chill. She always has to be loud, even when it's not about her." Others backed her, claiming she was the only one who had the courage to speak what everyone else was thinking. Then came the bunch. The therapy episode was supposed to be a healing space for the cast to come together and go through their difficulties with a qualified mediator. But in reality, it turned into a war zone. When Yandy expressed her disappointment with Rasheeda's statements, Rasheeda remained silent and simply stated, "I spoke what I felt." No apologies or empathy, just that. The room shifted. Jessica looked away. Bambi crossed her arms, and Spice leaned forward as if she were preparing for a battle. The therapist attempted to reroute, but it was too late. The damage had already been done. That is one of the most emotional point of the session was when Yandy stated, "I never thought I'd be sitting here saying this, but I don't know who you are anymore." Her voice broke, her tears welled up, but she didn't stop. "You made me feel little, like if anything I shared with you this is only ammunition for you to use later." The room went silent. Even Rasheeda, who had been stone-faced all season, appeared to be about to say something, but she breathed, shook her head slightly, and murmured, "It wasn't meant to hurt you." The response did not arrive. It felt empty, like an afterthought. From everything had changed from that moment on. Scenes began to reveal the actors segregating individual rides to events, dressing rooms, and even hotel floors during a group trip. Fans who used to view the show as a massive mess, the family now viewed it as fragmented parts put together for airtime. Nonetheless, the plot moved ahead. Every episode, another layer was revealed, another dig, another rumor every time when someone stated, I thought you were my friend." Even Kirk began to pull away, allowing Rasheeda to tackle her own battle. In one calm scenario, he said, "You started this. Now deal with it." Rasheeda appeared shocked, but she did not argue. Perhaps she couldn't. Perhaps she recognized she'd lost control of the story. Perhaps she just stopped caring. Fans were fatigued, yet glued to their screens when the mid-season trailer debuted. The promo hinted to a dramatic exit, a secret confession, and a confrontation ended with someone yelling off camera. What drew everyone's attention was Yandy's last sentence. "This is the last time I'll let someone like that near my peace." It was not flashy. It wasn't loud, but it was definitive. And suddenly, the season wasn't all about drama. It was think about the ramifications. Everything that had been festering since the first betrayal was finally boiling over. And no one, not even those who believed they were in control, could stop what was coming up. That one sentence hit harder than any slap the show could have scripted. Mendeecees shook his head and walked off saying, "No, we not doing that." That moment came soon. Rasheeda's leak, which became the most talked about online, divided fans into two camps. Those who thought she was telling the truth, and others who thought she was projecting her personal problems with Kirk onto Yandy's marriage. Jasmine's return became more than just a rumor when she reappeared, sitting across from Rasheeda in a scene that felt the woman who had previously caused upheaval in Rasheeda's marriage was now quietly drinking a mimosa, stating, "I just want to make sure you're good, because this is not the Rasheeda I am used to seeing." Rasheeda chuckled, but there was no humor in her voice. "You don't know me," she added coldly. Jasmine shrugged. "Apparently, neither does anyone else." That line rattled fans because it was messy, planned, and completely on brand for a season that appeared concerned with emotional warfare. Jasmine wasn't simply returning. She was being used as a mirror, a method to warn Rasheeda that no matter how collected Yandy had stopped trying to be polite. She had her own skeleton, and they weren't just in the closet. They had returned to the show, ready to speak. In a private sit-down scenario, her patience, which had always been one of her greatest virtues, was wearing thin. She told the camera, "I tried to take the high road. I tried to be classy, but people mistake that for weakness, and I'm tired of protecting those who do not protect me." Her voice